ito yung nagdi-dictate ito yung magdi-dictate ng tempo ng NEXTPLAY. If they get on a good start, they can actually snowball against Omega Esports. One problem is that they don't do anything against the Ling. Yes, pwede ka mag-snowball with the Angela, pwede mong magbigyan ng magandang oras si Claude dito, but there is an Esmeralda on the side of Omega Esports. So medyo questionable sa akin yung Angela pick na NEXTPLAY dito, no? Kasi inherently countered ka kagad. Naturally countered ka ng lineup ng Omega Esports and you didn't answer the Ling. Now, Omega Esports, they have essentially a +1 pick here and they picked up a Kagura. This is the top tier support at the moment.
Top tier mid.
Yes, it's good against Angela, it's good against Claude, and it's good against the Benedetta.
I think umabot lang tayo sa point siguro na NEXTPLAY, they know na wala silang Katchaling, pero asa sila dito sa talagang heavy damage output na pwedeng ma-provide and late game capability. This is a Claude, this is an Alice na pag umabot ng late game, hindi kailangan pumindot eh. Pipindot lang, ang pipindutin lang, ultimate, tapos maglalakad lang. So, ang ibig sabihin natin dito, yung damage output ng NEXTPLAY sobrang outstanding. So ngayon, I think doon na lang sila nagbe-base kaysa sa pag-catch ng Ling na to. I think it's still 50-50 pagdating sa draft natin. Nabanggit mo nga, execution, sa execution tayo aabot.
Definitely.
Snowball type para dito sa side ng NEXTPLAY. Omega naman, kayang makipag 2-on-2, kayang makipag 1-on-1 on lineup nila.
Yep, marami kasing approach ang pwedeng gawin ng NEXTPLAY. You can either go for a superior team fight, which is what they did with the Alice, Angela, and Claude, or you can disrupt the Ling. Pero naipit sila doon sa 2 picks kasi nga nakita na nila yung Ling and alam nila may last pick pa ang Omega Esports that can answer the 2 picks that they have. So I think the safer route was to go for the team fight. And commendable din naman yung approach nila dito, the Angela and the Alice. Again, your primary concern is that you don't do anything against the Ling and you are inherently countered by the Esmeralda.
So ang tanong dito, can Omega activate once again the KDA machine? Na-miss nating lahat itong Ling ni Mr. Hajizi. But can NEXTPLAY go all the way to the late game? And remember, this is one best pick para kay H2O. By the way, Midnight, before we start, nais ko lang sabihin that MPL Philippines Season 7 is under the supervision and the regulation of the Games and Amusement Board. So going back, look at this. Heat vintage movements para sa kanyang panggagamol dito sa purple buff.
Yes, actually ang ganda, no? This is the understanding of Omega Esports. They know that the Angela has leveled up the first skill instead of the second skill. So wala masyadong panghabol kay Pakito. But Rene J joining the fight here makes a little space for the Claude to farm.
Yeah, actually, still maganda pa rin yung kuha doon ni H2O ng kanyang purple. And talagang I think dito papasok yung veteran movements ng Omega. They know na kapag ang Claude ang nag-jungle, importante sa kanya lahat ng buffs.
Yes,
kailangan mo siyang i-delay ng i-delay. And yun din yung target dito ng NXP. Nagkamali ako, actually Midnight. Akala ko Claude marksman to. Akala ko Claude side lane to.
Jungle siya.
But we have a Benedetta side lane na mapupunta sa kay Rene J. Midnight, I think favorite mo to. Kumusta yung mga matchups natin? Kumusta yung mga matchups?
I think for NEXTPLAY, you're very happy with the matchups. Medyo surprised din ako, no? Actually si Rene J naglalaro ng Benedetta and Yawi is actually playing the Baksha instead of the other way around. Pwede kasing si James yung Baksha, Rene J playing the Alice, then Yawi on the Benedetta. But the thing is, they are looking for specific matchups here. They want the Benedetta on the core role against the 1-1.
Definitely. Sabi dito ng OMG, kailangan natin kumalaw. And there you go, first blood for the KDA machine. At dito na ba natin nakikita na back to form na ang Omega dahil nakakamiss yung mga ganong movements nila, yung mga biglaan na lang may first blood.
I think it's too early to say, pero Omega Esports, they still have their mechanics down to their bones. Kasi nakita natin na zinone out lang ng Omega Esports and actually dealing a poke damage into the heroes of NXP. And the job of the Ling is to clean up. Yan lang ang trabaho ni Ling ng early game. Definitely. You don't fully commit without your ultimate. So ang gagawin ng kampi mo is poke, poke, poke. You have the Kagura, you have the Pakito. These two heroes can poke all day.
Midnight, speaking of poke, how important is this? Yes, Rene J getting the revenge kill on the top lane. That's nice. Kasi gold laner yon yung nawala. So pwedeng may mawalang wagon dito para kay Kurt. Pero gusto ko tanongin sa'yo, gaano ngayon ka-importante si Heat sa laban na to? I think siya yung nagsaserve talaga dito bilang scout. Sa OMG, this is vintage OMG.
Yes, this is the playstyle of Heat. He really doesn't clear waves. Ang ginagawa ni Heat sa isang game is nagpo-provide ng vision talaga.
Vision talaga para makagalaw. Sinaha JC dito at mukhang itutuloy-tuloy nila as they are now targeting the orange buff. Pasok na yun dito si Toshi. Ultimate para kay James dito pero wala pa siyang first kill. Habang si H2O ay nasa liba na ni Exort at JC now flying out dahil masyadong nag-overextend this time ang OMG. Great movements pero hindi sila nakanako ng orange. That is a 2-for-1 trade. A tank for 2 heroes na wala si Hayes, na wala din si Heat.
Yeah, it's still a favorable position for Omega Esports. There are two stories here in the game. Number one is the resource control of NXP. Pinaka-importanting aspect sa kanila dito sa game na to is yung resource nila. They want the farm on the cloud. On the Omega side, you as much as possible, you'd want to take objectives. You have a Ling, you have an Esmeralda, and you have a Kagura. These three heroes wants to control objectives. But the thing is, Omega Esports, they have a +1. Kapag nagre-resource control ng NXP, the 1-1 is also free farming. So the late game factor for Omega Esports is actually bigger compared to NXP.
So meron pala silang ganun na, o sige mag-farm ka dyan, pero yung 1-1 namin, free farm naman. So may part na 50-50 trade ang ginagawa dito ng Omega. Yes, hindi nila nakuha yung orange, pero tingnan mo naman, ang daming turret gold na nakuha dito ni Cartesi. Meanwhile, pasok dito si Hajizi. Welcome back. Meron masustansya dito, and I think this is going to be the punish. Wow! Nice maneuvers para dito kay Hajizi.
Yes.
Onting acrobatics, onting gulat, pero may onting pasok agad ang NXP. Alam nila, ilang beses na nila napanood yun.
Dito mo masasabi na Omega Esports, sila pa rin ang isa sa pinaka-mechanically gifted na team. They know that the only job of these heroes is to poke. Nakita natin kanina si H2O, talagang binalagbag lang ni Hayes at ni Heat. Once na nakita nila nakalahati nilang buhay, even if the Angela jumps on the cloud, ang trabaho ni H2O is to clean up. And the story of the game is kapag may nangyayaring teamfight, I call this 60-40, kahit mapatay nila si Ling, NXP is just getting 40% because 1-1 is still farming.
Yes, ito pa rin ang pinaka-main dilemma ng NXP, si Kurt TZ. Fun fact lang pare, fan si Kurt TZ ng 1D. Parehas kami. Yeah, shoutout pala kay Kurt. And yun nga, nagpa-farm lang siya dito. Kailangan ng gumalaw ng NXP.
Yes.
Kaibigang Midnight. Yeah, nawala dito si GZ. Pero again, tama ka no? It's all about the side lanes right now.
Yep.
Probably yung jungle, 40% na problema mo yun eh.
Oo. Again, every move that NXP makes, it has to make sense. It has to be focused on resource control or controlling the map. But Omega Esports, they are the ones dictating the early game pressure, the early game momentum dahil nasa kanila ang objective taking. Remember, you have a late game lineup on the side of NXP. So Omega Esports, they control or they rule the early game. If the team fight leads to both jungle kills, it does favor Omega because they still have a 1-1 on the side lane.
Sobrang tama ka, no, Midnight. Kasi I think pressured ang OMG dito to finish the game early. Meanwhile, depensa muna para sa NXP. And this is risky. Look at that. Exort pumasok ngayon dito. Easy with the second skill out. Tapos si Exort na maiwan dito. Exort with the flicker. Pasok si HO dito with the blazing duet. This time, Yawi is here. H2 nandito na din. May onting bawi. Habang si Hajizi ay atakin yan si Exort. Hajizi will just go for the flinch ploys out. Meanwhile, Toshi naman ang magpa-farm dito sa gitna as James is also farming the bottom side. It's all about the aggressive movements ngayon ng OMG. Depends ang Marino sa NXP. Sinong nananalo sa trade ngayon, Midnight?
I think for the last trade, it was NXP. Even though napatay si Rene J, they still got what they came for. And maganda maganda actually yung response nila. You don't let Omega take anything for free. If napatay si Rene J and napunta yung kill kay 1-1, as much as possible for NXP, you need to find a trade. Yeah. And they got it. Nakakuha sila na isang kill. And Hajizi, he went on the backlines. I don't actually agree with the play. Instead of going for H2, he went for Exort, which was not the best of trades. So kaya ako nasabi na NXP yung panalo doon kasi nakakuha ng kill si H2O and Omega Esports, they didn't take any objectives out of that skirmish.
Yeah, but I think ang pinaka pwedeng objective lang na nakuha dito ng Omega ay mid lane.
Yes.
Pero nabawi rin kasi ng NXP sa bottom lane.
Yep.
So
may trade.
May part na nag 60-40 and yes, H2O nakita natin ngayon yung damage na ginawa dito ng kanya blazing duet na actually pare Demon Hunter Sword na siya.
Yes.
And we know na talagang delikado yon kapag ikaw ang isang clone. And this time, they're going for the turtle. Makuha dito ni H2O as OMG will just back off.
Yes, and this is where you start seeing the shift on the momentum here. NXP now has the items and the levels that they need. Remember, sinabi natin kanina, they are the superior team fighters. This is because of the presence of the Angela and the Alice. Omega Esports are now playing the split push game. You have a Ling, you have an Alice, you have an Esmeralda, and you have a 1-1. Yeah. Sila naman yung nagre-resource control ngayon, and NXP are the ones dictating the objectives. This is where you start shifting the power spikes. Si Claude, may teamfight yan. Si Alice, may teamfight yan. Benedetta, may teamfight yan. As much as possible, don't let Omega Esports split push and take the fight into Omega.
So, ibig sabihin dito, Midnight, ang pressure ngayon sa NXP is that wag nilang hayaan na Omega ang magdidikta. Wag nilang hayaan na Omega magsiset ng tempo. Dapat sila na.
Sila na
kasi
ngayon.
May damage na sila eh.
Yes.
Umabot na sila sa power spike na may damage siya yung blazing duet.
Yep.
halos lahat. Pero ngayon, Midnight, alam na ata ng Omega, gagawa sila ng play dito sa baba. There you go, Haze, napakatagal para mapatumpa dito si James!
Haji?
James surviving!
Oh, wow.
Wow, instant, ultimate lang! Kamuntikan pa, field attempt for OMG, pero kaya nilang patumbahin tong bottom lane.
Top lane though, top lane. Manjin, ito yung sinasabi natin, there's always a trade. Now the Basha is stealing the orange buff of Omega Esports. Medyo actually questionable yung nangyari sa baba. No? Haji Z could have taken out James, but he opted to go for the safer route and went for the tower objectives, which was fine. But then again, NXP, sila naman yung nagdidictate ng pressure ngayon. So Omega didn't really go for the punish on the bottom lane.
Ang hirap din kasi Midnight, I think mayroon din kasing specific na buff pa rin yung Torre. Kasi nakita natin na nag-back agad si Haze. Doon mo makikita dito yung yung mastery ng jungling dito ng OMG. Kung yun yung dating Torre, kung yun yung dating turret,
dinive na nila dapat.
Dinive na nila ng todo yon. Pero kasi still, mamamatay na si Haze doon eh. Isang hit na lang siya eh. So yeah, sobrang fortunate noon para kay James dahil nga meron din siyang ultimate. Dahil doon, nagkaroon ng space ang NXP. Midnight, pero with a snap, may bawi kagad ng Omega. Tignan mo, dikta kagad sila. Binawi kagad nila yung nawalang top lane nila.
Yes. Methodical approach still for Omega Esports. Every single objective na nakikita nila, basta libre, they will go for it. Easy with the Wind of Nature negating the damage output of the Blazing Duet ni H2O. Medyo ginalawan siya doon. Pogi! Yeah. Sikreto ng Pogi.
May onting master movements dito ang si Curtisi, pero mukhang delikado yon Midnight, dahil alam na ni H2 na cooldown na dito yung Wind of Nature.
Yes.
So ngayon, NXP, they can probably take this, but look at this! Kurt Tizzy with the place. Oh no, kailangan mo natin tumakbo dahil papasok si Yawi dito. But Kurt, kumikripok, left, right. Here we go, left, right. Nako, si Yawi na lang mag-isa at ayun na yung high left movements. Kurt Tizzy, kakabangkit ko lang Midnight.
Oh, H2,
pumasok ngayon. Mag-isa si Ajizi. Sabi niya, binate lang kita. Meanwhile, Ajizi. H2, Blazing Duet. Ajizi, Flinch Boys. Ajizi will survive. Habang si Curtisi, yung main problem ay nandito na ngayon. Attacking the orange buff right now. Nalito ngayon yung Omega. Good movement for Curtisi, pero wala silang mapupush this time as Rene J will try to go for the split push. Men, gaano ka-importante yung pitas na yon?
Grabe, ito masasabi ko, labanan ng H-God. Could have definitely taken out the Claude on that tower, pero sabi mo nga kanina, Manjin, medyo nakakatakot kasi yung mga turrets ngayon. So sabi ni Haji, okay, play safe na lang ako and I will not go for the Claude kill. H2 tried to go for the punish but he didn't have the stack with the movement speed from the Art of Thievery. So hindi niya nahabol si Ling and hindi rin siya naabot ni James. Now, Omega Esports has reset the game. They now have full control of the turtle, but remember, they can still take it on the side of NXP. They have a Baksha that destroys the bush control of Omega Esports, gives vision to them, and remember, team fight superior ang NXP.
Team fight talaga at Midnight, umaabot na tayo sa ultra late game. We're now at 11 minutes of this game. This is the same story nung kalaban nila Bren Esports.
Yes.
Ganito tumatagal ang NXP. Yes, lumalamang ang kalaban nila early game, pero nakakasabay kasi sila late game. So to the point na napi-50-50 nila, one wrong movement from Omega, NXP can definitely punish them.
Oo, ito ang story nitong team fight ito. Who gets the control on the 1-1? Omega Esports, they still have this pressure na pag nag-proc yung ultimate ni 1-1 dito, yung crossbow of tanks, heroes will melt on the side of NXP. So they need to keep in mind of the positioning of the 1-1, but it's really hard to do that against a Kagura and the Pakito na lagi nagbibigay ng vision against NXP.
Ang ganda kasi ng zone no? So pressured ngayon ng NXP. Hanapin dito si Kurt Tizzy. They need to be mindful of the wind chant.
Yes.
They need to be mindful of the Kagura's ultimate. Kasi Haze is also doing a great job with the box out na ginagawa nila. Tama ka, Midnight. Late game capability, yes, nandito yung part ng NXP. Pero dito na ba papasok yung veteran movements? Dito na ba papasok yung macro control? Kasi I think ang tinitignan natin ngayon, since 50-50 na yung mga items, kung sino na ang makakapag-freeze lane, sino na mauna sa mga bush, pagdating dito sa Lord Take na to.
Alam mo, sobrang bilis mag-farm ni Hajizi. Kanina lang pantay sila ng gold ni Claude. Ngayon, there's 1,000 gold lead on this Ling. Di ko alam kung saan niya nakuha yan. Actually, wala naman siya nakuha kills for the past few minutes. But I think it's because of him being able to stop Renergy from split pushing and the map control of Omega Esports na hindi nila hinahayaang makapag-lane si H2O. For the past 2 minutes, si H2O, kapag nagpapakita sa isang lane, biniblazing do it niya, but majority of his time is spent on the jungle.
Jungle talaga, no? Dito papasok yung capability ng Ling to roam around eh. Nagiging nagiging, para siyang nagiging part na hero na split pusher na lang siya eh. Ngayon, ang dilema ngayon dito ng NXP.
Oh, this is a kill.
Pwede na i-bait to ha. Let's see ha. Blow by blow.
Ayaw.
Renny J playing mind games with the GZ. Alam ngayon, ang dalawang kupunan na 4 lang sila sa my Lord Take. Sino ang mauuna dito? NXP ang may retribution. Kurt Easy. Kumikripok palapit. Let's see. Pero sabi ni Ace, teka lang. Alam nilang apat yung nasa side ng NXP.
Ganda ng bait.
Both of the teams playing mind games with each other midnight. Tignan natin. James, pasok ngayon. Hayes, nako, tricky situation. Pasok dito si Renny J. Renny J, the bomb! Execute! Oh no, nawala dito si Hayes. Pero mukhang si Yawi ata mawawala dito. Nako, nabitin! Damage! Napagamit dito ng windshot ni Kurt Easy. Pero the windshot is real! Mr. Edgelord! Kurt Easy! Grabe, malasaske, pare!
Grabe!
Kamuntikan mawala pero isang pindot lang ng windshot. Pero sabi ni Renny J, ako ang the bomb, hahabulin kita. Pero may onting creep walk.
Oh my God!
Habang NGC nandito na din, KDA Machine. There you go. May tusok din ako.
Grabe!
Apat na heroes ang nawala sa NXP. And look at that replay. Anong nangyari doon, Midnight?
Eto, masasabi ko lang, technical plays by Omega Esports. It started with the bait on the bottom lane. They went for the Renny J after the Lord reset. And after that, alam na nila, okay guys, lahat ng tao ng NXP pupunta sa Lord, maniwala kayo sa akin, and that is what happened. H2O thought that it was a free team fight, went for the Blazing Duet, pero hindi nila na-ready yung cooldown ng Winchan.
Wow, that instant replay is brought to you by Oppo A94. Experience gaming at full speed with Oppo A94. Get yours now for only $13,999. Instant Winchan lang. That was patience.
Yes.
Mula dito kay Kurt Easy, akala natin yun yung perfect Blazing Duet kay H2O. And mind you, H2O is one great Claude player. Alam niya kung kailan ang shoot ng Blazing Duet.
Oo.
Akala natin yun na, hindi pa pala.
Yep, and Omega Esports, this is where you start seeing the technicalities and the mechanics of these players. Again, Kurt Easy with that Winchan play on the 1-1 and Hajizi being present on the entire map. Parang yung pakiramdam ng NXP, hindi nila alam kung saan sila pupunta.
Yeah.
Kasi every single time na kalahati buhay nila, biglang may bumababa sa kanila, binabagsakan sila ng isang link.
Ang nangyayari dito, Midnight, NXP ang laging nagre-react.
Oo.
At umaasa sila na maka-outplay sila. Let's see, dahil mukhang may laban ata nagaganap dito. Onting poke. The Lord is now down. Buhay pa rin dito yung tower. NXP, nadepensahan pa nila. Nice patience para dito sa side ng NXP. Habang yung OMG kukuha na lang ng iba pang objectives. Ang camera ngayon ay tumitingin kay Kurt.
Yep.
Mr. Edgelord. Tignan natin ngayon.
Oh, James!
Oy, pasok si James dito. Si Kurt ang main target. Let's see. Wala pa rin pasok si Hayes, pero pasok na naman si James. The fake is real.
Oh!
But Kurt, mabubuhay ba siya? Buhay! Si Kurt Easy dito. Renny J magkabol. Kurt Easy. Pero may execute dito si Renny J. Wala na si Kurt this time. 4-on-4 mangyaring laban. Renny J nandito si Exort. Nakaloob sa kanya. Exort, tatakbo. Nag-zoom out yung camera natin. Renny J now tatakbo na din. Meanwhile, si Nate nandito. Walang damage output ng OMG. Pasok si Hayes dito with the yin-yang overturn. H2O mapapag-VMI out. Renny J baiting someone. Look at Hajizi this time. Hajizi, lilipat pa sa bottom lane dito. Nag-aabang ng hero. Hajizi.
Inaabangan yung top lane.
Men, ang intense nangyari. Pero sabi ni Hajizi, okay, lipat ang camera. Isang sundot. Kuha ang tore.
Basic lang, objectives lang, sabi ng Omega Esports. Di namin kayo hahabulin para sa kill. Kasi again, the story of the game is that we are playing objectives. If we can avoid fights on the side of NXP, we still win the map control.
Yeah, this is again because of the flinch boys. The mechanics na meron ang isang ling na kayang mang-split, kayang gawin yung mga ganong klaseng movements. How crucial was that team fight para sa dalawang teams, Midnight? James and Renny J, nakita natin yung persistence nila on getting Kurt Easy.
Actually, it could have been better, pero ang ganda rin kasi nung sagot ni Heat. Nung ginamit na ni James yung flicker niya, ang ganda nung gamit ng stacks on the Pakito. Multiple ultimates was targeted onto the Alice, kaya hindi napatay si Kurt Easy. Now, there's gonna be a steal on the purple buff. I don't think NXP could fight this one. Actually, nakuha ata ni H, and then, di nakuha ni H2.
Nakuha ni Hajizi. And eto, dito mo makokomment yung dito mo makokomment ang NXP eh. They really know kung kailan sila magre-rest. They really know kung kailan yung sugal.
Yes.
And sinugal nila yung last team fight na yun eh. Crucial yun kasi again, kamuntikan pa mabuhay si Kurt. Kung nabuhay si Kurt, kung nakapag-ultimate siya, pwedeng naubos pa sila. Pero Renny J, nireserve niya talaga yung execute. 3 ultimates yung nawala doon. The Electroplinal Blow, yung ultimate ni Alice, pati yung ultimate ni Angela.
Tumalon din eh, di ba?
Tumalon din para lang mapatay si Curtizy.
Alam mo, ito yung nagpapahirap sa game ng NXP. They try to go for these fights, and even though they keep on winning them, kasi nga sila yung superior team fighters, you still have to ask your problem ask the question as a new Ling. You have a Ling problem, and there is a map control problem. Because of the presence of the Ling, the Pakito, and the Kagura, these three heroes just control the map. Nakikita mo kanina yung laro ni Hayes tsaka ni Heat. They just move around, they control the vision, and hindi sila yung aggressive fighters na pag nakakita sila ng opportunity, they go for these fights. Because they realize na, okay guys, kalma lang tayo, NXP mas malakas sa fights, if they wanna go in, let them go in. Kasi pwede nating kontrolin yung gera na kapag patalo tayo, let's just have the Ling split push.
So masasabi ba natin dito, Midnight, na for the win condition of NXP, they really need to force this 5-on-5 Royal Rumble nasa bayan.
Dapat mampatay si Ling. That's the first condition. You need to take down the Ling and the 1-1 at the same time.
At the same
That's
time.
a tall order.
At the same time talaga, no? Ngayon yung OMG, okay lang sa kanila kahit walang isa. Basta't wag sabay,
yes,
and kaya nila mag-split.
Yep, ito yung dangers na sinasabi natin kanina sa draft. Even though NXP went for the right mindset, again, you have the superior team fighter with the Alice and the Angela last pick, but you are still facing the Ling problem. Again, hindi nila masasagot tong Ling na to because of the nature of their draft. Because if they try to split push with Benedetta, suddenly the 4 heroes that are left will just lose to the Esmeralda.
Oo, lugi talaga. And again, nabanggit natin dito, they don't have any catch para dito kay Hajizi unless ibuhos ni James yung second skill niya doon.
Oo, unless pagkamali si Haji.
Oo, at pwede rin or maduo kasi I think enough ng time yung stun ni Yawi ng Baksha at yung stun ng Alice. I think enough ng time
enough
na
naman.
yun eh.
Problem is, kailangan mahuli mo si Ling nang wala siyang ultimate.
Oo, at
Kasi may
ma-burst
free,
nyo.
kasi may free pass si Ling eh. That's the very nature of Ling.
Oo.
It's really hard to take him down kapag walang ultimate. So very conditional pag mapapatay mo siya. Actually, bottom lane, may nag-1v1 doon. That's the Ling and the Benedetta. This will always happen. The split push of the Benedetta and Hajizi split pushing for Omega Esports. And paulit-ulit yung mangyayari to, the Lord reset will always happen because Omega Esports, they're looking to split the map.
Magkakasaikuan na ngayon, Midnight. At dito na ba papasok yung draft na sinasabi natin? Yes, may damage output dito ang NXP, but Omega outplaying them in every way possible. Besides the fact na may escape yung Ling, may second skill din si 1-1 dito. Kaya hindi mo rin basta-basta mahuhuli. And the fact na maganda yung zone dito ni Hayes, ni Heat, and Detoshi, hirap na hirap ang NXP.
Triangle offense man din. Triangle offense, hindi makapasok kaya pumasok na si Yawi. This is a backshot that can do this, but the problem is the overwhelming damage of the Kagura and the Pakito. Mind you, it's just a Pakito tank. Ayan, ire-reset na naman nila. Always look for a potential outplay.
Mababurn siya dito. Pasok si Angela dito, but James is down.
Very methodical.
Wow! OMG, targeting the right person at the right place at the right time. And ito yung hindi mo pwedeng underestimate sa team na to eh. Alam nila pag sinabing focus fire sa isang tao, dun talaga sila.
Oo, Manji, nakita mo 'di ba yung bilis, yung urgency ng decision making ng OMG. Nung nakita nila na wala nang buhay si Yawi, immediately reset the Lord. Nung hindi na nila abot si Yawi, okay, ito na lang si James. Focus, 4 heroes were focusing down on the Alice. Now, Rene J is being chased by 4 heroes while Hajizi is getting his farm. Probably split push the bottom lane and mid lane, but OMG still have the control. Now they have taken the Lord, and this will make life harder for NXP because hindi lang si Ling yung problema mo, dadagdag pa si Lord.
Dadagdag si Lord. Lord is at level 2. Pupunta dito sa top lane. This is a 20-minute game right now, Midnight. We're looking at late game items right now. Kapansin-pansin na meron ding blade armor dito si Heat.
Oo.
Just to negate this Claude.
Yep, sasalin lang talaga nila.
Oo. And ito yung dilemma, Midnight eh. Laging mauuna ang Ling kaysa sa Benedetta pagdating sa split. Tama ba?
Kasi mas mobile si Ling compared to the Benedetta. Even though mas invasive mas evasive pala si Benedetta, Ling is just a global map presence.
At speaking of map presence, eto na, sabi ng OMG, gera na natin. James now falling low. Mabuhay kaya si James this time. Mukhang kaya niya mabuhay with the flowing blood pero nawala na rin si Hayes doon sa batang gilid. Napakagandang sagot mula dito sa NXP. Eto na yung sinasabi nating AOE-centric damage output as Hayes is down for a minute. Meanwhile, pasok si Kurt dito. Kaya na kayo maputumba. Na-reset dito si X-Sword. Kurt, siya na lang mag-isa dito pero ako makakawala pa siya. Nako, H2O nandito na din. Toshi, buhay pa rin. Ang daming buhay pa rin sa side ng OMG. Wala na rin si Renny J. And I think this is it. OMG. Omega is back. At makakuha sila ng pinakaunang puntos nila dito sa MPL.